So we are just almost 6 months away from the newer Z Fold 7, and we have to just wait around to just see what the Samsung brings on the table in terms of the foldable lineup. Now, if we consider, so if you're the person who just are just seeing Z Fold 6 to be purchased in the March 2025, so this video might just help you out to just whether you should consider this device right now or not. So like this device has been with me since its launch and been with me since July, and I just used this device a couple of months, and I have a good things to say about this device. And like it has some pros and obviously some cons. There are some things which the Samsung could have improved in this one, and there are some things like which differentiates like from the other phones itself. So we just go ahead and just talk about those things. So first we just go ahead and just talk about the little bit of specs like what you get over here on the Z Fold 6. So regarding the specs, if you talk about the dimensions of this phone, so this is like around unfolded, it is 153.5 by 132.6 by 5.6 millimeter in thickness, and folded it's 153.5 by 68.1 by 12.1 millimeter in thickness, but it's quite thick. But like as a foldable lineup, you can just see like it's a bulkier phone obviously. So I would just say like if you're just getting a full lineup, so you have to just live with that thing. Yeah, you can not do anything about it. Like even without the case, this device is pretty heavy. Like they have cut it down the weight. I'm not sure why the Samsung is not using the titanium frame on the Z Fold lineup. That would just help to just reduce down the weight. And one thing like they could just introduce the silicon carbon battery. We'll just talk about that one later. So if you talk about the weight itself on this device, so it's 239 grams, and we get to see the Gorilla Glass Victus 2 on the front, and then there's plastic in the inner screen of the once you unfold the device itself. There's a glass at the back, and you're just getting the IP48 dust and water resistance. So you can just it is immersible up to 1.5 meter for 30 minutes, and it's like a armor aluminum frame, which Samsung just says like it is stronger than the Z Fold 5. But I'm not sure like if that's true in that case. Like it's very hard to just predict those things like in person. Uh, like to evaluate these things, like they're saying like it's stronger, but you never know like what's the benchmark they're using to say that it's stronger than the Z Fold 5. Like I've used the Z Fold 5 and feels pretty much similar. But yeah, maybe they have added some coating or something that makes it a little bit stronger, or maybe scratch resistant. It is having a stylus support as well. So like if you're just having the stylus, so you can just use with this device on the inner screen. So it's a bummer kind of like you cannot use the stylus on the front screen of the Z Fold 6, which is I'm not sure why is that so. Maybe they have to just keep the device thinner, because if they include the stylus support, so they might have to just make the additional layer on top of it, which makes the device thicker. And I would say like in the future iterations, Samsung could just use a silicon carbon battery to keep the device thinner, and they could just introduce uh, the stylus support on the front screen as well. And most importantly, I would just like to see the anti-reflective coating on the Z Fold 7. Like that's what I miss. Like once you use the S24 Ultra and the S25 Ultra, so you will just miss that thing on these foldable lineups. The screen is almost perfect, I would just say, in terms of the resolution and everything. The aspect ratio is very weird on this one. So if you talk about the front screen, so obviously it's foldable dynamic LTPO AMOLED 2 times 120 Hz HDR10 plus with 2600 nits of peak brightness over there, and it's around 7.6 inches in the inner screen, which is 91% screen to body ratio, and the resolution is around 374 ppi density via 1856 by 2160 pixels. The cover display itself, like if you say so, it's a dynamic LTPO AMOLED 2 times 120 Hz display, 2600 nits of peak brightness, and you get to see the Corning Gorilla Glass front at the. It's a Victus 2, which is a newer one on the front, and it's 6.3 inches. The resolution on this one is around 968 by 2376 pixels, which is like 410 ppi. Quite decent. I don't find this uh, pixelation on the screen itself, either the inner screen or the front screen, are pretty great. I wouldn't say like there are any issues, except like there is a very weird aspect ratio on the front and inner screen, which is kind of a bummer. Like once you're just playing the games, that's why I didn't notice up till now. So out of the box, it used to come with the Android 14. It still is running the Android 14. Then Samsung promised like it is going to have the 7 major Android upgrades, and it's currently running on the One UI 6. Um, it's a newer device, and I'm not sure like why still Samsung didn't roll out the One UI 7 on the Z Fold 6 lineup. That's quite strange. Like Samsung has been pretty picky once rolling out the software upgrades on the Z Fold lineup. Unlike like Apple, I would just say like Apple is great like in terms of rolling out the updates on the devices itself. Now, if we talk about the processor on this one, so it's a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, which is a 4 nanometer architecture. It's 8 core. You get 1 into 3.39 gigahertz codex X4, and then there's 3 into 3.1 gigahertz codex A720, and then there's 2 into 2.9 gigahertz codex A720, and then there's 2 into 2.2 gigahertz codex A520, bundle up with the Adreno 750 GPU. Now the memory options you're just getting on this one is like around from 256 gigs, you can go all the way up to 1 terabyte with the 12 gigs of RAM. And with regards to the camera over here, so cameras I don't like on this one at all. Like it's a flagship device, I would just say like Samsung should at least give a better camera system on this one. Like this one looks like it's like kind of a mid-range device setup that you're just getting over here. Obviously it's the same camera that you're just getting on from the Z Fold 4, 5, and then onto the 6 itself, which is, I'm not sure why Samsung is doing that. They have some processing going on which has just like the picture processing have been improved on this one, but slightly, but only that you'll just notice when you're just comparing side by side, and very hard to just notice that thing as well, I would just say in person. If you're just comparing side by side too, you have to just be very picky in terms of analyzing the picture itself. There's no massive difference in this camera setup. So you just get the 50 megapixel wide, and then there's 10 megapixel telephoto, which is then 3 times optical zoom. You get a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens, which is just fine. Like it doesn't perform so much well in the night. The picture seems to be like a very grainy in the what you call from the main lens as well. And yeah, so like the back camera itself, like it supports 8K up to like 30 fps. The front one supports 4K up to 60 fps. So on the front camera, you will just get the 4 megapixel in the inner under screen camera in the inner screen, which is completely like useless, I would just say. Like this one, I'm not very fan of the under display camera over here. These are pretty, like the picture quality are so bad out of it, like it's hardly usable. I would just say like might be at some point if you're just doing a casual conferencing or just a video calling, that's the only thing you can just use or make use out of it. Like there's no quality you're just getting out of this camera. However, the front one is like a 10 megapixel over here. You're just seeing the punch hole. That's kind of just okay. It's just not a very great camera, I would just say. So camera like these selfie cameras, like inner or the cover display, are both like just okayish kind of. The inner screen, the one is like completely useless, I would just say. Like it's better to remove the camera itself if they want to put that kind of quality like inside. Like it's around 2025, and this device was launched in 2024, 6 months back, and like I'm not sure why Samsung is just cutting down corners for the inner screen camera itself. Like the cameras needs to be improved on this device overall. That's my final verdict would be. And the camera on this one, like it can shoot up to 4K at up to 60 fps, the front one. It has the dual speakers are pretty nice on this one. There's nothing to complain. Could be better if they can be improved further in the Z Fold 7 lineup. The speaker on this one like should be a little better than the S lineup, because this is like a foldable. I hope like if they can just introduce at least like 3 speakers or like 4 speakers on this one, like the bigger tablets, because this device is so, I mean, so this device is so expensive, so at least you get a different experience. And the stylus itself, like if I talk about, so I'm not sure why Samsung didn't give in this one. Like it has to be some source where they can just inbuilt the stylus in it. Yeah, these kind of things like I don't like about the Z Fold 6, and I just missed those. The fingerprint scanner on the side is pretty dope. Like I don't find any sort of issue in terms of login. This is like seamless locking system and unlocking system, and obviously it has the Samsung DeX itself. The battery itself, that's kind of a bummer. Like they're using since Z Fold 4 like around 4400 mAh of battery since then, and I'm not sure why is the case. The charging on this one I don't like at all as well. Like I find this one extremely slow. Like at this price point you're just getting a 25 watts of wired charging. It's like kind of a bummer, I would just say. Like there has to be increase in uh, the charging speeds on this device itself. The colors you get to see over here is the navy, silver, shadow, pink, crafted black, and then there's white, two exclusive and three like a standard colors you get on this one. Now, if we talk about like design wise this device, so you can see like it's very unique. It looks very premium while you're just holding this one in your hands. So you get to see on the sides, you get to see the volume up and down, then there's power up and down, then there's 5G band, then there's you can call it the SIM card tray over here. You get the lined up antenna bands on here. You get on the top one speaker, some noise cancellation mics, and then there's two antenna bands. The hinge itself on the left side is pretty nice, and I would just say like this device feels so much premium in the hand. Like it's in its own way, in its own league, I would just say. But the coating itself that Samsung has done, like I would just say, like the paint itself or the finish, if you can just notice, so there's some kind of peeling you'll just see over here. Like it's very hard to notice, so there's some kind of peeling over here just going on over here, although I'm just wearing the case here with the hinge protection, and but still, like I would just say, like the coating on this one is pretty bad. Like it's just, I think, around 6 months with minimal use, and never it's been dropped. But yeah, the coating is just about to just peel. On the down we just get to see the type C charging port, and we get the speaker over here, and then there's one mic. You get two antenna bands over here. On the back you get a pretty nice feel. This one is like limited to just for the crafted black. I really like this color itself, and I just opted, and this like looks pretty premium, I would just say. Regarding the peeling of the color, I would just say it might be due to in some colors that you choose are is the issue over there, but I'm not sure about the other devices. But the black, this one, like I have that issue, but I really like the finish itself on the back. It feels like a little bit of a rubbery touch to it. Like it gives you a very good grip in the hands, I would just say. And yeah, and it's kind of a carbon fiber kind of finish, you can just say. It's very unique and looks pretty nice. A little bit of shiny, a little bit of rubbery, gives it a little different texture. And you get just one LED flash, so it's very seamless and elegant design, I would just say, at the back. I really like this one in terms, like rather than just a plain black that you get over here, you just get a little bit of texture which adds to the grip, and which will just makes the device less slipperier. On the sides you can see like it's now kind of a slab phone, you can say, kind of very flat, I would just say. The screen has been a little bit increased on this one, and you can see like the screen is decent. It's one-handed use still, which is still just makes it kind of a unique. So this is a cover display, and they have just increased. So if you're just walking and you want to just see a quick message, or if you just make a call, so that's enough for it. It's not meant to be like that's the thing about this Fold lineup. Like the front screen is a cover display, so the main screen is at the inside. So the front screen you can use it for like quick actions, maybe if you want to receive the call, and it's not for like the main interaction with the device. So if you're just want to buy the foldable lineup, so I would just say like the inner screen is the main screen, and that's where the Samsung focuses. Is the reason that they have just not increased the front screen to be so much bigger, because then it will be just, I think it will be just strategically will be difficult for the Samsung to differentiate between the foldable lineup and this like a slab phone. Like if you're just making so much bigger phone, so it destroys the purpose of like a foldable, because most of the people are getting the foldable lineup because of the device being more handy, and then on the go you just get the full tablet. Like once you open the screen, I think that's a great purpose, but there are some room where the front screen could be a little bit increased. I would just say the front screen is pretty nice on this one, but the aspect ratio on this one I don't like at all. Like the front and the inner screen itself, it has to be like improved to match with the slab phone, something around, make it a little bit shorter, a little bit wider, and that would just make the better aspect ratio for the inner screen as well. So that's the thing I would just say too, that needs to be improved on maybe the future iterations of the Z Fold lineup. And I miss that thing, obviously. Like you want that little bit bigger screen on the front. It's a little bit wobbly once you just keep it flat. You can see like the design language, like it's like very common right now. Like the devices, because of the camera bumps, are so much wobbly. The only device I can just recall would be the, I think, Google Pixel lineup, where there's like a quite great design in terms of the that it's not wobbly one, or you can say the OnePlus 13 that have recently been launched. So that's a device which is not that much wobbly because of the bigger camera bump. If you talk about the battery itself, the battery is not that great regarding, like if you're just using the front screen, so it might last you whole day with minimal usage. But like if you're using mainly the inner screen for that purpose, so I would say like that's kind of where the where the battery will just start to drain pretty much quickly. The inner screen like display is pretty nice. It has all the features, bells and whistles of the, like it is one of the bestest software you can just get on the Android foldable lineup is on the Z Fold 6, I would just say right now. Like it has all the things that you need. The screen itself, like it's pretty nice. The only thing that I miss is the weight aspect ratio, I would just say is the drawback. And I hope so that in the future iteration, if there could be just anti-reflective coating on the front and inner screen. And this, if you see this crease, this is quite annoying. Like I know like people are saying like the crease is little slightly been improved on the Z Fold 6 from the Z Fold 5, but I've used both phones and I couldn't see like it's still very considerable. Like if I close the screen itself, you just notice on different angles the crease, you just notice a lot this one, which is quite like obviously once the screen is open, so it doesn't come so much in the way, but in certain reflections, you like right now I'm just seeing like if I just maybe launch some app over here, so you notice over here the crease, because if you're in a brighter lighting condition, so reflections would just make the crease much more noticeable on this device itself. It has to be improved, and Samsung should learn from like other foldable lineups how they're just making the crease so much improved and flat. And in that case, yeah, I would just say like it needs to be improved. The hinge itself is pretty strong. I would just say it's pretty durable. Like I'm using this one since around 6 months, and it's pretty much holding so well. Like you can see, like even if it's this much close, the phone doesn't close up. It's pretty strong. You can see it's still like it holds up excellently. Like so yeah, the hinge itself is pretty strong. It's still, there's no kind of deterioration on the hinge opening and closing. The device itself is pretty straight. I would just say I've been using for around 6 months and over, and you can see like this one performs pretty nicely. There's no bending, like it still opens almost like 180 degrees straight. And with regard to that one, I there's nothing to complain regarding that one. Software has been great on this device, but yeah, as I spoke, like the camera needs to be improved on this one. There has to be improvement on the battery side, which is very very important. There has to be like the improvement that needs to be done on the screen and reflective coating. Like when Samsung can make for the S25 Ultra and the S24 Ultra, so why, I'm not sure why they wouldn't make for the Z Fold 6 lineup, or maybe a Z Fold 7 lineup. Now still very skeptical like whether the anti-reflective coating will be brought to the Z Fold 7. Reason being that the Samsung considered the front screen to be the cover display, so I'm not sure if they're just bring that one onto the front screen. But yeah, it has to be there when and I'm not sure like if that would just add so much cost to the device itself. Like the Z Fold lineup, like it's quite already very expensive once we compare to the other slab phones, I would just say. So I'm not sure why they didn't add this one here. Also, if I just say to include the stylus support for the front screen as well, and that could be like, I would just say, be done while making the device thinner via using the silicon carbon battery on this one. I hope so Samsung use. So if Samsung would use that battery in the Z Fold 7 lineup, so that will make the little confirmation that the silicon carbon battery will be used in the S series as well for the next year S26 Ultra. That I would just assume to make the device thinner, and I think that would be a very good step in with regards to the making the device thinner. I think Apple and Samsung, like they are playing so safe with their devices that they're just seeing like if the device is getting be sold, or if they're just still capturing the major market share, so there's no need to improve the device itself. But that needs to be done, and that has like made them making devices, newer devices, in a way that those looks like just in a incremental changes, and those not like kind of a major change. Like if I consider the Z4 lineup, so it has came a long way from the like the first iteration of the Z4 lineup. It has improved, but now the things are being stagnant from around Z4 4. I would just say obviously they have made improve the hinge. They're just trying to make the device more durable, but on the same time, when as a customer, the customer needs to just get something new in the device itself, like with regards to new features or maybe better aspect ratio. At least the Samsung could have made the better aspect ratio on this one, like, because if I'll just show you guys any game on this one, so I see the screen being a very narrow field of view you just get on while just playing the games itself. And on the front screen you get to see like the top and bottom to be cut it out on the front screen. I would just say if you're just launching some app, I would just say maybe we just run the Temple Run 2, so we can just see like there is a considerable screen black from the top and bottom, so you're just not using the full screen. The screen itself is pretty great, but due to the weight aspect ratio you don't get that much of the app optimization itself. However, the One UI 6 itself is pretty great in its soul, if you consider it like a solo. But the thing is that like if you consider the app optimization on this device, so I see like it's still many apps are not that great in terms of the optimization once you just run onto this device as well. Like as I show, like there's black on top and bottom when you're just running the app itself, and also like once you open in the inner screen, so it sometimes get pretty narrow field of view you get in the gameplay itself. Maybe I'm just able to show you over here so you guys will have a better idea. So we just launched the S-Falls Legends Unite, and you might know that how this one works. Not this one. I think this one is pretty optimized. I would just say there was I think CSR Racing 2, you would just say like it's not so much optimized on this one. So just to show you guys in perspective, like to open again. The speakers are like pretty great on this device. There's nothing to complain. These are decent. Now if what I'm talking about, like you can see like the screen is so much cutting out over here. The raise button over here is just out of the screen itself. So that's kind of a bummer that I was just trying to explain. So Samsung needs to improve the aspect ratio on the Z4 lineup by making the device a little bit wider in terms of the front screen and the inner screen as well, rather than making it a little bit squarish. So that would just make gameplay on this device much more better. So like if you think about like, is it a good device for gaming? It depends upon what you need from the device itself. Like if you're a person who just require you're using for casual gaming kind of, so for that it should be okay. But if you're a serious gamer, so I wouldn't recommend that one, because that ruins the experience, because you get very narrow field of view in the inner screen itself. And obviously the inner screen is the main component that enhances the experience on the Z Fold lineup, and that's what you're just getting the device for. Obviously the cover display itself is just like a normal flat screen, I would just say it. So there, if you want to just use that one all the time, so you have other devices for that. When you have the S25 Ultra, you have the S24 Ultra, you can go to Google lineup, you can go to the Apple itself. So yeah, you get that one, like a lot of flat screen devices. So inner screen is like the main component of the Z Fold lineup, and or you can say other foldable lineups, and that needs to be improved on the on the Z Fold 6, or maybe you can say on the Z Fold 7 lineup. If they don't improve, so there's no purpose of like having the device itself. There has to be a little bit wider. What I mean exactly. Now the device itself, like it's performing pretty well. I couldn't complain any sort of issue. Like if we talk about the inner screen, so the you can open like any app. Like maybe if you want to open Pinterest, you can just swipe it down like this. You can just make the screen like half and half. You can maybe open the calculator over here, and then you can just maybe switch these apps side by side. You can just use this one, save it as a pair on the app's edge panel if you want to, or maybe the home screen. And you can just make this one up and down. So they are like this thing I really like about this device, like it's way beyond like the One UI 6. It's so much great. It's like a whole mini tablet inside. If you can just open like 3 apps over here if you want to. So here it is, so like if you open the third app, so you can just bring it over here. You can just open in a 3 menu setup over here. You can just switch these ones like this. You can rotate as you like, what you want the big, what you want the small. That's how it's been done. Yeah, so device wise, like the experience wise, like it's great in terms of that one. You can just open as many pop-up windows you want to open over here. So you can open one, as many as you want. Like you can open maybe the Amazon. You can open like multiple windows over here. You can just work it like as a mini laptop, I would just say. Like so yeah, so there's one more option that you can, so some apps you can just run in a flex mode. So there's like kind of a flex mode on this one, where if you just open the video itself, so you get to see the maybe if you're just running some video over here. So and one more thing, like you can see this one, this whole, you can just make it in the app icon, so you can just right away open these all like this. So if you want to open, so you have like this device has been great, yeah, in terms of that one. Now the flex mode I was just talking about, so you can just make this one as your mini laptop, I would just say. So here there are like controllers, and you can just make this one touchpad, and you can just use it as a mouse over here, and you can see like you can use it as like a mini laptop over here. Like it's like great in that terms, and it's like perfect for that one. Like I really like this feature on this one. You can make the screen, I think, yeah, you can control it from here. So there are like, you can just scroll down the apps down there, I mean for more videos down there, you can see. So like it's like a mini laptop, I would just say. You can just so much control on this device on the inner screen, like, which is quite great. You can use the main camera to take the selfie as well on this device, which is kind of great options on this device that you get. So the device is like, I would just say, if you ask me like whether it's complete, I will say like there has to be some improvements on the device as well. Regarding the cameras, I didn't like the battery itself, and the screen aspect ratio needs to be improved, like, which are like the most important. And the last, I would just say, I'm not happy with the charging speed on this device itself. Like if you're just paying so much amount onto this device, on the foldable lineup. I think the device needs to be complete, like almost just like a 6th iteration, and it's still like if there's a need to be improved, I would say like that doesn't make sense. The crease on the inner screen needs to be improved as well. The design wise, obviously, it's a perfect device. Like it looks very premium. Obviously, if you're just getting this device and if you're using the case, I would just recommend the case with it, because obviously it's a fragile device, so it needs to be protected, and it's very expensive at the same time. And the one thing I just noticed, like it's very hard to find good cases with hinge protection on this one. So either way, those are the cases which are very bulkier, which are like makes the device so much bulkier that it's like it doesn't look good, like it makes the device so much heavier. And the S Pen integration should be done in a much more better way onto this device itself. And then there has to be like an anti-reflective coating on this one. Like this is like the flagship foldable device, and there has to be all of the flagship features, and we don't expect that to be like a mid-tier sort of components that you're just getting onto this device. We want the flagship on this device because this device is not cheap. This is so expensive. I would just say even now, if you just go ahead and buy this device, it's very expensive, this device. And if you're not just getting the full experience, so I would just say that's kind of a bummer from the Samsung side. I'm not saying like it's like a bad device, but improvement needs to be done with respect to the price point at which this device being sold right now. And there are many improvements that is still be needed on this device still. And like if you're just considering this device to be bought right now, so I would just say unless you're just getting a very good deal, only then just get this device. Otherwise, you have like other options as well for the foldable lineup. And this device obviously is for the one like who is considering the foldable lineup, because you get so much of different experience. Or if you're a person who's just looking forward to try something new, so like me, so it's the reason I bought the Z Fold 6. So you might want to just get this device right now, would be the reason, and then you can just trade in towards the Z Fold 7. But if I would just make like a wise decision, so I would just say to just wait for the Z Fold 7 and to see like what it has to offer, because the aspect ratio and with regards to gaming, because you're spending so much money on this device, that if you're just buying at such a big price, so I would just say to just wait, because I wouldn't say this is like to be a complete experience. The cameras are pretty bad. I would just assume like for the Z Fold 7 they have to at least improve the cameras and bring the flagship camera at par with the S25 Ultra, which has to be the case. And obviously I'm not sure if the Samsung is scared about like how to differentiate between the devices. The foldable device is completely different from the S25 Ultra, so at least they should include like one of the best camera on this device itself. So yeah, that's are my thoughts about the Z Fold 6 like after 6 months. And this device has been like pretty great, I would just say. There are some issues which needs to be addressed by the Samsung, and they need to make like a great change in this device to make this device market much more worthy in terms of when it comes to how customer sees the device itself. And do let me know if you consider this device or buying, or if you're using this device right now, so how do you feel about this device. And thank you for watching, and that's all for today. And please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching again. Have a good day. Bye.